So I want to talk about the Yeti Ranchero 22-liter backpack that I've got here. I kind of want to talk about my mentality behind EDC and why I chose the things that I do. And as I show you the stuff that I carry in my backpack all day, every single time I step out of the house, I'm just gonna give some anecdotes as to the lessons I learned and why it ended up in the backpack in the first place. What I really want you to take away from this video is the fact that the Yeti Ranchero 22-liter, it's a good bag. There are some shortcomings that I found for it. But the most important thing is all of the anecdotes and the reasons why that I carry certain things are all based off of experiences. So there's nothing in here that doesn't belong, and everything that is in here has a reason or a story as to why I put it in there in the first place. And it'll only come from problem-solving scenarios. I was in a country, didn't have a thing, and I never wanted to be without that thing, and so now I carry it with me all the time, right? I encourage you to find those reasonings for yourself. Everybody can watch a review and they can say, I'm just gonna buy that exact list of items. But that exact list of items only works for that person who has that list of items. There's no universal list of things that everybody should carry. And I encourage everybody who watches this video or any gear video to find out for themselves what fits for them and their lifestyle, and most importantly nowadays, their budget. All right, so the Yeti Ranchero 22-liter, it's a tri-zip backpack. Yeti purchased Mystery Ranch, so it's using their tri-zip design. A lot of people talk shit about Yeti Ranchero backpacks because they're not Mystery Ranch backpacks, but honestly, that's kind of the point. I didn't want to go with some Brovet tactical Timmy backpack. I've carried the Rush 2.0 from 511. I've had a Vertex bag in the past. I had a GoRuck M23 beforehand. And while none of those are particularly and overtly tactical, just the affiliation with those brands might tell somebody who knows or who is in the know that maybe you're a little bit more tactical than the average bear. I didn't want that. I always strive to be the nobody, the guy under the radar. And Yeti, being an outdoor brand that soccer moms carry in their vehicle all the time, was the perfect branding affiliation for me to just completely go unnoticed. Now, yes, I do have a specific patch on my backpack, and if you know what that brand is, that's great. But hardly anybody does, and nobody really gives my flag patch a second look. So it accomplishes all the things that I want to accomplish. Also, there's no straps or MOLLE paneling or anything out here. And there's also a huge lack of exterior accessible pockets. And I did that on purpose. This bag, just like all the bags that I have, go with me on every adventure to every country that I go to for work. And some of the places that I go to for work are not super hospitable to Westerners. And so I didn't want a backpack that had a bunch of exterior panels and pockets for pickpockets to get into. These zippers, while Yeti does advertise them to be an easy grip and rip panel, none of them are. I've had this backpack for several months now, and none of the zippers have loosened up to where somebody can just kind of unzip them and sneak their hand in there, either while it's next to me or while it's on my back. So those are the kind of variables that went into me purchasing the backpack. Now, the Yeti, the Ranchero 22-liter, it's got a top flap. And I just want to be prepared. So yes, I do carry medical supplies. I've got nitrile gloves in here, almost every single over-the-counter medication that you can think of, and God gives his worst tummy aches to his strongest soldiers. So I've got some Pepto-Bismol tablets in here as well. Just in case I get caught out in an airport or something like that, I've got a miniature underarm deodorant stick, and every once in a while I do go out to shoot with my backpack, and I also plan to use this backpack as a go bag. So if I need to use firearms while this backpack is on me and I don't want to carry big ass professional hearing protection for firearms use, I've got some silicone earplugs in here as well. Now, because I do carry concealed every single day, if you're making holes, you also got to close holes. And so I carry a tourniquet. All of my medical stuff, if you notice, is high vis. Medicine is important, and when you need it, you absolutely need it. So it's easy to say, hey, that orange pouch or that orange thing, grab it and let's use it. So all of my medical stuff is orange, with the exception of trauma shears. If you're getting into accidents, you got some boo-boos, if I use this out on the trail, which my backpacks do get used in backcountry, or if there's some kind of larger issue, you got to be able to shed those layers pretty quickly, and some good trauma shears is the best way to do that. In the water bottle pocket, I got a glasses case. Now, of course, there aren't glasses in here, but I've got a microfiber towel for cleaning my glasses. I've got 3 individually wrapped Colgate toothbrushes for, again, if I get caught out in a place where I don't have a sink or whatever it may be, and some chapstick, as well as some silicone pads for my glasses. They don't have like any padding, so they slide down my nose without those pads. And then those pads are actually consumable. You got to throw them away every once in a while, so I've got refills right in here. Now, I've also got, I'm not going to break them out, but as you can tell here, these are titanium screwed together collapsible chopsticks. I have been in other countries where I can't speak the language, and I either get delivered food, I sit down for food, or somebody offers me food, and I don't have my own utensils I don't even have a way to ask for them, to be honest. And so having some collapsible utensils and eating gear is really great, because if you're in another country and you get food delivered and the delivery driver zips off on his moped, you can't call for ask for any, and you'd be surprised how hard it is to find like utensils like in a bodega or in a gas station in another country somewhere. If you don't want to be a Neanderthal and eat with your hands, it's great to have some emergency kit for that. And screw together chopsticks is the perfect way to do it, because it doesn't take up as much room as like screw together or collapsible forks and spoons. Plus, if you're in another country where civilian firearms ownership isn't legal, if you have some screw together titanium chopsticks, it's really great for putting those together and poking things and sampling the local sushi, if you know what I'm saying. On the other side, I've got a tiny little 10-ounce flask. I don't really drink, but this is a great little metal flask from Stanley, and I just store water in here. And getting into the tri-zip of the backpack, lower this down, I've got what I call my hobbies pouch. So as you can tell, I'm wearing my DJI lavalier magnetic microphone, and I always carry my USB-C and 3.5mm DJI receiver in this pouch, as well as all the accessories and cables. I'm also a little bit of an audiophile, so I keep my IEMs as well as my Hebe R4 media player in this pouch. Listening to music, especially with a device that you can keep offline, is really great. It runs off of an SD card, and I don't need noise canceling headphones because these things create such a good seal for my ear canal. So having high quality music, something that you can enjoy and listen to, burn through waiting times at airports or while you're in the air or whatever, is really great. Now, nowadays more than ever, it's really important to be able to document things wherever you go. Your cell phone is great for video and pictures. It's probably the best thing to use normally when it's the first thing that you have on you, but cell phones are fragile. And if you really want to get high quality recordings of whatever it is that you're seeing, or high quality photos, it's better to have a camera. So I do carry a Canon R50V with a little square lens hood and some attachments for a quick disconnect camera sling. And I normally keep my quick release plate if I need to throw this on a gimbal as well. 13-inch MacBook in here, and I got a 10-inch e-ink tablet for me to take notes. And then in these small side pockets, I just have some stuff that I've learned to carry at all times. If I'm in this country, or if I am going to a place in the country in the United States where I can carry my rifle, I always carry my rifle. And in my backpack is an extra 20-round magazine. Even if I don't have my rifle on me, I still keep this extra magazine in my side pocket. It's because ARs in the US are so ubiquitous. If I ever find myself in some survival situation or things get really sideways, I can still have an extra magazine that I can rely on if I ever have a way to procure a rifle. Plus 20-round box mags are just kind of a vibe. Now, off to the side, I've got a tin of Altoids, a deck of cards. You'd be surprised how, if you're in a country where you don't speak the language very well, I have literally thrown down and played cards with people that I've never seen before in my life, don't speak the same language, and we found a way to have some camaraderie over that. Now, again, if you want to make friends with strangers, I don't smoke and I don't advocate that you do either, but having a pack of cigarettes and a light is a great way to lower tension in the room. You know, I'm born and raised in Texas, thank God, but I've been in some shitty dive bars in the past. Tensions escalate, and it's really great to be able to just fucking give somebody a dart and a light, and it helps them to calm down. It's a great way to kind of get out of weird situations. Always try to make friends everywhere that you go before you end up having to do the other thing. I've got some really basic $10 3.5 millimeter plug-in headphones with an inline microphone. Again, guys, this is all from experience. If you're going to another country, a lot of devices won't have Bluetooth connectivity or whatever. It's nice to be able to plug something in, hardwire, and use that as your audio. Plus, if you need to have a phone call a little bit more discreetly and you throw in some headphones and you put a beanie over it, nobody can really tell that you're on the phone unless they give you a super close look. I've got a Ride in the Rain, and inside the flap in the Ride in the Rain is a printed out map of my local city with points of interest marked on it. If I'm playing varsity level hide and go seek with law enforcement or whatever, I want to be able to know exactly where I'm at. If I lose GPS or some cellular connectivity due to insert crazy scenario here, I have a map that I can navigate with. Now, my day job, I work in IT. So I carry a bag of cables and battery chargers, but also most importantly, on top of all the adapters and stuff that I use, so I can plug in any device with any cable to anything, are these USB drives. I've got a couple of hardened metal case USB drives that are password protected. And then I've also got some super small, like keychain size USB drives. If you're carrying data on you and you need to move it in and out of a place with discretion, it's really nice to be able to have a USB flash drive that's small enough for you to put in places that maybe, I don't know, some kind of border or customs agents won't be able to find. Now, in this larger DACA pouch, these are all Magpul DACA pouches, by the way. In this larger DACA pouch, I've got a little bit more serious hardware for emergency situations. So I've got a DMR radio with a stubby antenna. I've got a couple of chem lights, a headlamp, and in this pouch I've got some sugary snacks and gummy bears and things like that, just to keep the morale up with some sugary things, and a Garmin InReach Mini 2 in case I need to leave some electronic breadcrumbs and I'm in a place where cellular doesn't work that well. I can still communicate using satellite GPS, and that radio, it does come in quite handy. It's really great to be able to hear the gossip on the street in real time. In this Magpul DACA pouch without a window, I've got just a bunch of tools. So I've got some side cutters, I've got a pair of channel locks, and you can tell that my background is in IT and telecom because I've got an 11-in-1 Klein screwdriver, as well as some electronic snips. Now, if I'm trying to get into the club and I'm not on the list, it's nice to have some lock picks as well to just kind of muscle my way in there. Now, last year I was in Mexico, and I happened to be there, not for this purpose, but I just happened to be there while a pretty big riot ended up popping off. And one thing that worries me, since I work in technology and I know how it works, one thing that worries me about being in areas like that is that the first thing that the local government is going to do is take all the metadata from cellular towers and see who was in that location. If you are masking your electronic signature, you're doing it right, even if you're not doing anything nefarious. So having a Faraday bag on you at all times is a great way to mask your electronic signature. So this hardly takes up any room. It weighs basically nothing. And if I need to unfold it and put my crap in here to make sure that I disappear off the grid electronically, I always keep that for that reason. Now, if you're masking your electronic signature, you really need to work on masking your physical signature as well. So I have this Magpul pouch, and in here I can change everything down to my socks. So if I just need to shed a bunch of layers and change what I look like from one 5-minute segment to the next, I can do that all here. I've got lightweight pants. I've got just some basic looking t-shirts that, nothing technical, no moisture wicking. It's just a regular t-shirt. You're not gonna find like Gore-Tex materials in other countries. You just wanna throw on just a basic shirt, and that's what's in here. The only thing that's special in this is a lightweight rain jacket along with a shiesty. So if I need to cover up my head, my facial features, as well as my hair, everything down to my underwear can be changed from inside this bag. And then obviously we're always living off of electronics, so I got to find a way to keep it charged. So this is a big ass Anchor battery bank, and this is TSA approved, so I can fit this on flights and stuff. The Ranchero 22 liter is a pretty dope ass backpack. I like it, despite its shortcomings, despite it not being some legacy, tactical brand. It's hard wearing, The material is really good. As you can see, with all the stuff in there and with all the stuff out, it still stands on its own. I like that rigidity. The load straps, the load bearing straps at the top of the shoulder straps are really nice. And I like that the actual shoulder straps themselves are not that thick. That's important to me because if I shoulder my rifle while wearing a backpack, I don't want like some thick ass pad sticking off of my shoulder. I do like a backpack that's got some sternum straps. This one has it. If that's something that you like, definitely got it covered there. But overall, the Ranchero 22 liter has been the perfect EDC backpack. As you can tell, all of these things were thrown in there because of lessons learned and things that I like to do on a day-to-day basis. It's not super tactical, it's not super survival, and it's not super techie either. It's kind of a little bit of everything. The Venn diagram overlaps quite a bit. If you have any questions, let me know. And that's my EDC backpack.